Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's been a while. Today we'll be learning how to make princess darts, how to draft princess dart bustier. So I rolled out my starting line and I'm measuring out my waistline. That's from my shoulder to my waistline. Now from the starting line, I'll be measuring my shoulder measurement. That's shoulder divided by 2. I will be coming down to my chest line, and from there to my bust line. From my bust line, I'm having my shoulder to my under bust, and then my shoulder to my waistline, and I'll be doing 1 inch from that waistline that's going to serve as the allowance. So those are the lines you saw me marking out. So I'm rolling out my shoulder to my chest line. That's what I'm doing. And how to get your chest line is your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. So I'm rolling out the lines. That's the bust line. I'm also going to be rolling out my under bust line, and then my waistline, and then my allowance line. So just in case you don't know what your chest line should be, you have it as your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Another way you can get it is you come up from your bust points. Yes, you come up 2 inches from your bust point. That could also help you in getting your chest line. So I'm rolling it all out and I'm labeling it. English wants to pluck my teeth. Chest line, bust line, under bust line, waist line, and then my allowance. So we won't get it mixed up. It's best we label it. So what I will then be doing is I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slants. You could do ½ inch if you like, but for this pieces that I'm working on, I came down by 1 inch, and then I'm marking out the standard neckline. Standard neckline is 3 inches by 3 inches. That's to the width and to the length. So I did 3 by 3, and that's what I'm chalking out, and I'm rolling it out. Round neckline, that's it, 3 inches by 3 inches. So from the neckline, I'm going to roll a straight line to my shoulder slant. That's the 1 inch I came down with at the armhole side, and that's it. So what I'll be doing is I'm trying to see what's left, and to have about 8 inches left on that side, and I divided it into 2. That gave me 4 inches. So on my chest line now, I'm measuring out my bust measurement. That's my bust divided by 4, and on that line I'm going to rule my armhole line. That's from that midpoint that I divided into 2, that gave me 4 inches. I'm going to come in by ½ inch. So I take the 3 points and you have it like so, giving us our armhole curve. But that armhole curve is temporary because I'm going to be marking it using another armhole curve, but this is just like the standard. So for my bust line now, I divided my nipple to nipple into 2, and I have it. And then for my under bust, I would remove 1 inch from the nipple to nipple measurement that I had at my bust line. So say your nipple to nipple gave you 5. When you come to the under bust, you do 4. Say your nipple to nipple gave you 4.5. When you come to the under bust, you do 3.5. Do you understand? So that's what I did at the under bust and at the waistline and at the allowance. So I'm taking a straight line from the under bust line all the way to the waistline and then my allowance. I hope you understand. Yes, so from the under bust, I'll also take that line straight to my nipple points at the bust line. Let me go again. Bust line, at the bust line, I did my nipple to nipple divided by 2. I measured it out, and then I removed 1 inch from it, and that was what I measured out at my under bust and waistline. So for my armhole, now you can use this 4 that you already have as your princess dart line, and then you come down by 1 inch. So on that 4 inch you could also come down by 5, but I like using 5, so I came down by 5 inches, and I'll come down further still by 1 inch. Now it's up to you. If the person is on is really busty, I'll say you could come down, you could leave it at that 4 and then come down by 2 inches. Yeah, but for this, for the purpose of this video, is a medium-sized bust that we are trying to draft out. So I came down by 1 inch, which is 5 inches. So I measured out 5 inches and then 6 inches. Do you understand? Do you understand? I really hope you do. It's quite simple. It's simple. I came down by 5 inches, and that's where you saw me rolling out that straight line to the armhole. So I took the line from the bust line to the armhole. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then all of our other measurements will be coming to that other side. I'll be taking 2 inches. Now if the person is medium sized, you could do 1.5. If the person is on the small size, do 1.5. If the person is medium sized, do 2 inches. If the person is a plus size person, do 2.5. Let your dart be 2.5. But for this is a medium sized measurement, so I'm doing 2 inches. Easy peasy. You don't have to come to that folded part. No. Let all your measurement just go to this side that you see me pointing my hand. Then from that under bust, just take that, take your curve roll and link it to that nipple to nipple measurement that we had initially. Do you understand it? You understand it? It will just give you that curve like that. You just have it like that. So from there, what we will now do is that 6 inches that we came down from, you'll draw a straight line from that place to connect your bust line, like so. Easy. Armhole, you measured 5 and 6. We connected this new line now to the 6. Now because of this 1 inch that we are having, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. You know the difference in between that armhole side now is 1 inch. So you are going to take 1 inch upwards from that bust that you are trying to form. Why you are doing this is so that when you start sewing your princess dart, it won't be short at the armhole side. So that's why you are coming up by 1 inch. If what you took was 2 inches, come up by 2 inches. If what you took was 1.5, draw that straight line to be 1.5. Do you understand? But in this case, I took 1 inch, so I came up by 1 inch. Now I'm going to return that 1 inch, that I'm going to return it to my armhole side. Do you understand? So after measuring my bust divided by 4, I measured it out on the chest line. I will now add that 1 inch in between. I'll return it. Then my 2 inches sewing allowance, I returned it as well, giving us a new armhole. Do you understand? Now that part that I'm shading, I'm going to be taking it off. Those are the parts that are not needed any longer. That's why I'm shading it off. So what we'll be doing now is we'll be taking all of our measurements. So because we've taken the bust measurement, we'll go down to the under bust. Take the under bust measurement. What's the dart that we took at that shaded part? We took 2 inches. We'll return the 2 inches to the measurement as well. Now we'll be using 2 inches to sew. We'll put the 2 inches on this pattern paper as well. We're already adding our allowances, so when we are cutting, we are not putting allowance again. I come to the waistline now. I take my waist measurements, that's waist divided by 4. What do we have at the shaded part? The dart was 2 inches. I return it, and then I also put the 2 inches that is meant for sewing allowance. I put it on this pattern paper, and that's it. So now I will join from the chest line to the under bust line, and from the under bust line to the waistline. And that with that we have come to the end of the front part of this princess that bustier. I'm just labeling it here: the chest line, the bust line, the under bust, the waistline, and the allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut it out. Now please watch closely how I cut it. Yes, I'm blending it out here, so the those points are not sharp. You could come down by 1 inch though, but if you get your scale right, just blend it. And that's it. This is how I draft my own bust here. I'm cutting it, my princess that bust here. I'm cutting it out now. Please watch closely how I cut, so you know the things you are to cut and the parts you are not to cut out. So you see I'm cutting now on the new armhole curve. On the new armhole curve, can you see it? Yes, that means the one we first did is no longer relevant, is no longer useful. I hope you get what I'm trying to explain here. I really do hope. If you don't, please leave a comment in the comment section, and you can be sure that I'll respond to it. So you see how I'm tracing it out, how I'm cutting it out exactly. That's how you are going to do yours as well. I will suggest that if you're just starting out, use a pattern paper to draft this first. Don't just go on your fabric directly. That's if you're a beginner, or if you're trying to do a DIY. You can do this, but don't go on your fabric directly. Do it on your pattern paper, and then you go ahead to your um you place your pattern paper on your fabric to cut it out. You see, that's about it. So that's the center front, and those are the side fronts. Can you see? Let's move to the back. So we rolled out our starting line. So for the back, the first thing I'm doing after rolling out the starting line is to mark out my zipper line. I like using 2 inches for my zipper line. You could do 1.5. You could even do one, but I usually use 2 inches for mine. So I took 2 inches, and it is on this line now that all my measurements will be starting from. Labeling it the zip allowance. So it is from this zipper allowance now that I will be starting my measurement. So I take out my shoulder measurement. That's my shoulder divided by 2. I mark it out. You can see where I placed my tape. Yes, that's exactly how you're going to do yours. And then I'll mark out my armhole. You remember how I said we will get our armhole? Exactly. Go ahead and do yours like that. So I mark out my armhole. I roll it out. For the back, you don't have to rule out under bust and bust line and all those things. The chest line is going to serve as the bust line in this case, and then you measure out your shoulder to your waistline. You don't have to, there's no bust at the back, so you don't have to measure on that bust. You get the gist exactly. So just do your shoulder to your waistline, and then your 1 inch allowance at the lower part, and then you roll it straight, you roll it all out. You roll it out. So what I'll be doing now, I'm labeling it. That's my waistline and my allowance. I'm going to be measuring my darts. That's my nipple to nipple. Yes, the darts we used in front for the bust line. We'll have it here. Look at where I'm measuring it from that zipper line. Exactly. So if your own dart is 4 inches, measure 4 inches from this line. If your own dart is 5 inches, measure 5 inches from this line. Do you understand? Exactly. So I'm going to measure it all the way up, but from the chest line I'm going to come down by 1 inch. I won't let it touch the chest line. I'll come down by 1 inch. That's my nipple to nipple, and I'm going to use the same nipple to nipple from top to down, giving us a straight line. So I take ½ inch to the right and half inch to the left. This is not a, we're not doing princess darts at the back. We're just doing a normal darts at the back. Maybe I'll do another tutorial where I'll show you how to do princess darts for the back as well. So yes, that's what you see me do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to I'm going to measure out my body measurement. So my waist divided by 4, I have it there. What's the dart? Half inch to the right, half inch to the left will give us 1 inch. I return it, and then we are working with 2 inches sewing allowance. I put it there. I come to the chest line. I measure out my bust line. Excuse me. I measure out my bust and then my 2-inch sewing allowance. I come to the neck region. I measure out my neck, which is 3 inches in this case, and for the depth I'm using 1 inch. You can use whatever for the depth of your neck, but for this that I'm drafting out, I used 1 inch, and we have it like so, and we curve it. Remember, the depth of your neck can be anything, the shape can be anything, but this is a basic princess that's drafting. That's why I'm using this measurement. I come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, and I roll it out. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I measure half of what I have at the armhole, which is 4 inch, and then I connect it together to give me my armhole. Yes. So what I'll do is I'll connect the chest line and the waist line together like you see me do. Exactly. That's it. Now, in order, I'm just confirming the measurements here to be sure that what we have is what we are supposed to have. It's always good to confirm measurements, especially when you're working directly on the fabric, even on the pattern paper. Just confirm, it costs nothing. Now, I like it when the back of a dress or a clothes, sleeves layers well. You have to avoid bulging of the zipper. So what I am doing here is I went in by 1 inch. I'm trying to remove whatever that will cause zipper bulging. So I went in by 1 inch, and then I'll be connecting it to the uppermost parts of that pattern like you see me do. Exactly. So if you do it this way, your zipper is not going to bulge. You know what is called bulging? You know that thing that will look like hunchback at the back of your zip? That's the way you are going to eliminate it. So after doing that, I'm cutting out my pattern at this point. I'm cutting it out. I'm not going to take out that the what's it called now? I'm not going to take out the dart. Yes, I'm going to cut it like that, and then I will sew it on the fabric. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just follow this, and you would equally be able to replicate this perfectly. And then I cut my shoulder slants. Exactly. And yippee, we've come to the end of the tutorial.